Hello everybody, I'm a huge LEGO fan, and as every LEGO fan knows, every so often there becomes a set that's generated so much hype that you just can't wait to get your hands on it. A set that's bound to be a defining point in the year to come. A set that's going to look beautiful on your shelf and that's going to add so much to your collection that you just can't wait to dig in. And all that being said, I managed to get mine late. Thanks, UPS. Today we're going to be talking about the Ninjago City Markets, one of the biggest Ninjago sets ever to come out, and one of the most elaborate sets I've had to build in a long time. And while I have a lot to say about it, there's not much I can say that hasn't been said already in the dozens or so videos that managed to reach the internet before me. Yes, there's a working cable car. Yes, there are two elevators. Yes, it's wheelchair accessible. Yes, Cyrus Borg is in it. And to top it all off, there's a flushing toilet. So what is there really left to say? Well, I have a few ideas. But first, I think you guys are expecting a review. And while I don't have much in the way of review, this set is fantastic and I love it, I do have something in the way of petty gripes. While I was building, I failed to notice one of the circular tiles was rotated at an angle, causing me to apply the sticker at a bad angle, which means it's not parallel to the ground. What it all means is that Kai's clock is slightly askew on his wall, but it bothers me every time I see it. Another mechanism that doesn't work as well as I think it should is the wheelchair lift leading up to the tram. Partway through the build, it started to snag on me as I was lifting it up, and wouldn't reach the top without a struggle. This is because an axle became misaligned as I was building it, though the solution is simple. Just reach into the baker's apartment and push the axle up from the bottom. Once it's firmly in the understud, it should work smoothly. While I do appreciate the cable car, I wish it would have moved a bit more smoothly. The gears are wound up pretty tight, so when you try to turn it, it only moves a little bit at a time. I wish it would have gone down a bit more smooth, or even had a motor function to raise and lower it. Another minor problem I had with the cable car was that the top door kept closing in on the minifigures and knocking them over. I placed a stud on the inside of the frame so it wouldn't lower past the point that it looked complete. I'm not a big fan of how the Borg store looks kind of dead and vacant like an actual cell phone store. But it also looks like an actual cell phone store, so who am I to complain? Cyrus Borg's office is also a little cramped and small. His wheelchair can hardly fit in it, but with a little finagling you can get him just right. I did feel like I had to switch the positions of the desk lamp and his monitor so I can actually get him to look at it as he's rolling into his office. The lift to get into his office is a little wonky though. He tends to fall off of it as you're raising and lowering it, especially on the way down. On a more technical note, photographing the inside of the karaoke bar was a pain. It's very cramped and it's not very well lit. The windows do come out and we can take the top off, but we really wanted a picture going through the doors, and that is difficult. And again, on the photography side of it, the rail for the tram does block a lot of the pictures that we could have gotten on the bridge between the Borg store and the karaoke bar. It's a minor complaint, and not many of you will be taking pictures of your sets, but for those of us who do, it does go straight across and block off many eye lines. My final petty gripe is that I don't think it goes all that well with the Ninjago City Gardens. Yes, they're meant to go together, but there's something about it. Alright, hear me out. When you put the Ice Planet ice cream shop up against the tram station, you get this big flat wall leading up to the giant teal tower at the top of the Ninjago City Gardens. It's always bothered me, and I expected the next set to cover it up, but it really doesn't, and I kind of wish there's still something else to do it. I thought there would be a way to access the upper balconies from the backside of the Ninjago City Gardens with the next set. I expected the lift from Cyrus Borg's office to cover that, but it's misaligned and it doesn't actually help. Placing the Ninjago City Markets on the other side of the Ninjago City Gardens looks a little better, but it does cut off the balconies from the Ninjago City student's apartment. And she already lives in a one-bedroom apartment. Let's not take her balcony away. Gripes aside, this set is fantastic. It's full of vibrant colors and striking visuals, fantastic vistas, and fun characters. Honestly, go out and get this set if you can afford it. But what does that mean if you can afford it? What are you giving up to get this set? What does it actually cost? Yes, you have the retail price, but what else is there to it? And that's really what I want to talk about. Because a Lego set doesn't just cost the money you give up to buy it, it costs a little bit more than that. And this set highlights, I think, all three components very well. So let's get into that. So let's talk money. This set, if you buy it on Lego Shop at Home, will cost you $369.99. So $370 for short. But that wasn't it, because I threw in one Lego Creator 3 and one Cyber Drone to boot. That's added an extra $10. Poor me. But after taxes, it came out to $415.03. That's a lot of cheddar. To put that into perspective, I like to use a metric that I call the Big Mac standard. It puts up the cost of anything up against how much it would take to buy food instead of that thing. It's a pretty good standard for me to use since I need to feed myself to live. A Big Mac in my country, at average, costs about $5.37 per Big Mac. So this set costs about 78 Big Macs. Just think about that one for a minute. With the money I used to buy this set, I could feed myself on nothing but Big Macs for almost a month. Aside from that, another big cost of a Lego set is time. How much time do you have each day to build this thing? It is 6,163 pieces, and it took me 15 hours and 45 minutes to arrange all of those pieces one by one into this massive city block. Not everyone has that kind of time, and me telling you to go get it doesn't even account for how much time you could have. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have a job, maybe you have other prior obligations, or maybe an emergency happens. All of this may contribute to extending that 15 hours and 45 minutes over the course of maybe more than a week. Maybe it takes you a week and a half, maybe two even. But you must consider that before buying this set. One of the final costs of this set is space. Where are you going to put it? Where are you going to store it? How are you going to display it? This set is 18 inches tall, 20 inches wide, and 10 inches deep. How big is that? Imagine it in your head for a second. I can guarantee you what you're imagining is not as big as the actual set. And without the set in front of you, or a banana for scale, I don't think you can actually imagine how immense this thing is. I've been using desks and shelves and tables to try and put this thing together, but in the end, I do know where I'm going to put it. I cleared out the space. I had to make it. There are now several Lego sets that I have to store so I can put this one up. This is the final thing I think you need to consider when choosing whether to buy this set. It is huge. In the end, I did buy this set. I own it, I have it displayed on my shelf, and I love it. But I had to consider whether it was worth it in all these categories, and I think everyone has to figure this one out for themselves. I can't tell you to go spend $400 on a Lego set, and I can't tell you to clear out space on your shelf for this massive thing. What I can tell you is that this is a beautiful set, and it's a really fun build. The characters are fantastic, the highlights being Cyrus Borg and Misdemeanor. Sometimes I just sit and stare at this set in awe, and it's going to look beautiful next to my Ninjago City Gardens, regardless of my petty gripes. Now, I do want to have a ranking system, something that I can use to express how well I like this set. And if this set had to be ranked, it would be at the very tippy top, and we'll call that rank permanent display. If I don't have room for it, I'm making room for it. And any other set that comes next would have to be better or bigger in order for me to take this off the shelf and replace it with something else. This set is here to stay. It's here to make a statement. And that's what the top of the list is for. We'll fill in the rest of the bracket as I make more videos. But until then, this has been the Brick Bracket, and I'll see you next time.